Hello, everyone, and welcome to ChuggieBets College Football Edition. The regular season is in the rearview mirror, and it is championship week. So we've got some picks and predictions for you. I've got with me Danny, Matt, Al. I'm Andy. Before we get to any of that, though, let's chug a beer.
Who's ready to chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks? Welcome to ChuggieBets.
All right.
Danny and I timed out like identically.
So not the best week we've ever had.
This was like the biggest slaughter, the worst week we've ever had, I think. Combined.
Thank God for Matt. Matt was the only one of us above 500. I was at 500. Luckily, I only sent in 2 picks. So I was busy last week, but I managed to stay 500. Matt, 3-0 though. Well done, sir. You, my friend, have a chuggy bet. Before we get to our picks and predictions for championship week, let's just talk a little bit. There's a lot going on in college football. Let's kick it off with some coaching news and rumors. There's a lot of that going around right now. Matt, what do you got for us on that front?
Andy, Auburn got their guy. He got their guy. I was listening to Paul Feinbaum on the way home today. Just a great world to live in if you just absolutely hate your life. But Paul Feinbaum's funny because he trolls people the whole time. But everyone on the Auburn, all these Auburn folks and Alabama folks were talking about the morally upstanding Hugh Freeze coming to Auburn, right?
He's a God-fearing Christian man.
He is. Look, I'm excited for Auburn, right? I think that's an exciting time, a lot of transitions. Danny made a good joke earlier. They went from Ole Miss went from Hugh Freeze to Lane Kiffin. Now they wanted Lane Kiffin. They got Hugh Freeze, Auburn.
They're stuck with Hugh Freeze.
They're stuck with Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is a freaking good coach. But let's chill with the morally upstanding stuff. I don't think anything he did with the prostitutes is bad, personally. But
I don't think anything he did with paying the players was bad. He got him some car loans and got him some extra cash. Come on.
And you know what he did?
I think it's a combination of deed done and like moral high ground that he's standing on. It's like it's a bit of a I don't know, juxtaposition that makes it laughable.
Let's not pretend he was hired for his moral upstanding nature.
That's true.
He beat Saban twice. That's why he's hired. He beat Nick Saban twice. It's pretty friggin' good for Ole Miss, right?
Also, I don't know. It's not like he's the minister or the priest or something, man. He's just a guy that goes to church and like tries to be better. So like let him keep trying to be better, I guess. I don't really care that he says he wants to be good.
I don't either, man. I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting for Auburn. Really, the most exciting news is what's going on in the Big Ten West. I think it's far more exciting than what's going on in Auburn, right? The Big Ten West has always been a sleepy little conference side where all the big dogs are in the East. In the West, it's like, hey, let's just go out and play some football, right? We're going to score 10 points. We're going to win with scoring 10 points. Then everyone.
All you need is 11. All you need is 11.
I feel very attacked right now.
You should. You should. I'm coming directly for your shit. They have like 10 points, and then they realize, hey, we got a big check coming. We should invest this money into football. And Andy made the point. It's like, why would we invest in the players when we can get better coaches? Nebraska has got Matt Rule. Luke Fickell, who's always been like that darling, everyone studies waiting for Ohio State, going to Wisconsin. So, Andy, what's your take on the Big Ten West right now? Are you more upset? You want Illinois to get involved? They got a big check too.
I'm happy with Burt. That's what those of us that know him well call him. Mm-hmm. What he's done with Illinois has been really impressive. They're 8-4. Last time Illinois was 8-4, it was a long time ago, decade ago plus. So I'm happy with Burt. I don't have any problem with that. I don't like big name coaches coming and joining our side of the bracket. That's no fun at all. Luke Fickell and Matt Rule can go somewhere else.
Yeah, but, Illinois led the way on the hiring SEC also rans. So, you know,
that's true.
They don't need to do any hiring. I do think is there a sadder landing spot for Matt Rule? It was like a steeper. Is there a steeper come up and a sharper drop off than going from Temple to Baylor
to the
NFL to Nebraska?
The come up wasn't as steep, but I think the drop off for Urban Meyer was probably bigger. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That might not be much of a drop off.
So I think Urban Meyer's ascent was pretty fast, but he just stayed at the top longer, and then it was like a big plateau. It was like ascent, stayed up here real long, and then down. There was a dip in the middle. There was a real strong valley right there in the middle when he had to go leave
have
Ohio
6
State.
heart attacks.
Health
I guess there's a
concerns.
couple of those. He's had a lot of peaks and valleys.
There's going to be some school that's going to have a little extra money in their Big Ten West wallet who's going to reach out to Urban for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chatter about him going to Cincinnati because that's where he's from. His son's on the coaching staff there.
Is that where his restaurant is? With
I think it's right outside there. The Finger Bang Inn.
That's the bed and breakfast he's opening up.
Oh, that's the bed and breakfast. That's very tasty fingers. So, and then finally, Kenny Dillingham from Oregon going to Arizona State. He's going to be the youngest coach in Power 5. He's 32 years old. 32 damn years old. He was the offensive coordinator at Florida State last year, and then he left, and we're a lot better. So, good luck, Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham. Good on you. But,
wait, Arizona State goes from hiring possibly the oldest coach in D1 to the youngest?
Yeah.
That's fun.
To be fair, Florida State, the offensive coordinator you guys got now is legit. I can't ever remember his name.
Alex Atkins. Yeah, he's dope.
He was your O-line coach before, and you guys promoted him, and he's a legit coach. So he might have gotten pushed out versus fired because he was bad.
Yeah, I mean,
low-key, sorry, I was going to say low-key, hire more offensive linemen as OCs, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. And then
yeah, but it's working great as Mario Cristobal.
He's a head coach, not an OC.
All right.
One other note, do you guys see what happened at Stanford the other day? This was really shocking to me. As long as I can think of Stanford, I think of them being relatively competitive. The last few years have been tough, but Coach Shaw.
David Shaw's been there like 20 years, right?
He's been there for a long ass time, and he's made them really good at an incredibly difficult place to be a good coach. And I didn't read any more into the story, but at like 3 a.m. he dropped a press release. He's like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm over this." And maybe he's just done, right? It's a lot of work, maybe he's. I don't know. Yeah. It's weird.
I don't know why.
Okay. Could it have anything to do with the fact that he kicked a meaningless 51-yard field goal at the end of a game to help cover a spread? And, everybody was like, hey, you got to try and win the game. You can't just try and cover the spread for the boosters. So you can't coach here anymore. You're going to have to just step down.
Maybe. I forgot he did that in an 11-point game.
He also coached Andrew Luck. So a little connection there. People that just don't give a shit and are like, I'm fucking done.
Well, here's the thing. That's what I was going to say. I don't know why there's not like a dozen dudes, like head coaches, quitting like mid-season, just being like, dust it off. Like, I'm done. Like, I have more money than God. I don't need to go through this like headache any longer. I can just I can afford to quit.
It's the same reason people give 2 weeks notice at their shitty jobs, because it's going to hurt you trying to get another job down the line. If you're just like, oh, my team's 0-4, I quit.
Yeah, but you have how much has David Shaw made in his career?
I bet
talking 100 million.
I would imagine it's significantly less than that, but yeah, I'm sure he's set.
I mean, that's $5 million a year if he's been coaching 20 years at Stanford. Roughly.
He's been at Stanford since 202011. For a point of clarity here. So 11 years.
50 million?
His career earnings, according to a quick Bing search, $4 million.
$4
million?
Get the hell out.
He makes that a year.
Okay, that might be the wrong David Shaw.
This is why we don't use Bing. That's David Shaw.
You're right. $4 million a year.
And he just asked Jeeves, and he got the wrong answer. Surprise.
So 44 million. And I mean, man, he's really down and out on his job prospects. What's he gonna do with 44 million? Fucking go sit on a fucking island.
Again.
Well, what? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe,
the dude is 50 years old, right? He may just want to chill and have some money. He's got generational wealth now. Maybe he's coaching at Stanford. He may be a pretty smart dude. He's from San Diego. seems like a pretty cool place to hang out with some millions in your pocket and just kind of kick it, or like do
That's
some
what I'm
side
saying.
business shit. I would hate to be a college football coach. I can't think of a worse job. I'd rather be an NFL coach all day than having to plan for games and then have to recruit and then re-recruit your players so they don't have to transfer portal. That shit
No.
sounds like it sucks. It's never been a worse time to be a college football coach. Nick Saban no longer loves it. Dabo Swinney no longer loves it. That's how
You know
bad
what?
this shit is.
I just had a genius idea. Instead of salary caps and all of that in professional sports, they should have time caps. Your coach can only work 40 hours a week. Boom.
Oh, I would love
Make
that. I would
best
love to
use
see
of
the
your
coaches
time.
follow that.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's me whipping around the coach search. There's a lot going on, and honestly, there's going to be a hell of a lot more coming up. So we'll make sure to follow it. We got reporters on the ground.
Danny, I think you wanted to tell us a little bit about Oregon State, which used to be called the Civil War, but we can't call it that anymore because we're a woke podcast. So I think it's the Apple Cup now.
I think the Apple was the Washington game.
Yeah, I'll find out what
is
the
it?
Oregon.
I don't know what they call the Oregon one.
What
Is
is it?
that like they were
wooden
calling it
apple.
something? The duck. The duck. Is it the Duck Bowl or the?
Oh, it's like a platypus or something because it's half duck, half
Oh,
beaver,
beaver and duck. Yeah,
right?
I like it.
think that's what it is.
They call it something weird.
It would be weird if they called it something else.
Anyway,
It's gotta be
I
weird.
what's
wanted
really
to be
weird?
platypus.
What's really weird is how Oregon State came back and won this game, because you'd think if you were down, 31-10, a high flying offensive juggernaut would come back and win this game with 3 or 4 touchdown passes, but no. Oregon State came back with 1 pass completion that came with 8 minutes and 24 seconds left in the third quarter, and that pass completion, that was their last pass completion. It might have been their last pass attempt, but that pass completion was fumbled. It was a 1-yard pass completion, and it was fumbled, and that next drive led to the field goal that put them up 31-10. After that, all they did is run the ball. All of their yards were rushing. 4 plays, 75-yard touchdown. Couple of short drives. They got short fields due to some nice kick returns. But yeah, all rushing, all touchdowns. They went touchdown, and then they ended up winning the game 38-34.
Do you know how demoralizing it is to be a defender and just get gashed on the ground like constantly, nonstop? It's like, what are we doing here? Let's go home.
When I played football, I was not good at defense. I couldn't tackle, so I only played offense.
You give up like a deep pass, you're like, oh, like even if that guy was wide open, there's opportunities for, bad throw, or he drops it, or maybe the defender makes a play. But if you're just getting gashed for like 10 yards each time, you're just like, I don't want any more of this.
It hurts more to get run on. I was on the field sometimes. It hurts more to get run on because like when they pass on you, you can also just like blame the one corner who fucked it up, and like you're rushing the passer. It doesn't hurt to like not get to the passer.
Yeah, they're gashing you for like 10 yards. There's like 8 guys getting their ass whooped.
You're getting
play.
pushed backwards. You're getting pushed backwards by the guard if you're a defensive tackle, and then they're just like running through you. Oh, it's terrible. So
I love that.
Yeah, it was 4 plays, 75 yards, 3 plays, 36 yards, and then they fumbled 2 plays, 2-yard touchdown, and then for some reason Oregon goes on their own 28-yard line and doesn't get it, and then 4 plays, 28-yard touchdown to win the game. Idiots.
Typically though at halftime when you're down 4 touchdowns, you're not like, we should not pass the ball anymore. That's not usually a thing that comes up, but I appreciate it.
That's great.
It's amazing. It's like they ran the wing T. I feel like Tommy Frazier was behind quarterback. Like, what the hell are they doing? Like, do you think Oregon's defense is like, they've got to pass this time? They have to. They haven't passed in over 17 football minutes. It's got to be a pass coming soon.
I didn't watch the whole game, and I haven't seen the highlights. I don't remember if there was play action or anything like that. Like, were they faking handoffs to one guy and running end arounds? I honestly don't remember. So I'd loved it if it was just all like 22 dives right up the middle with a fullback in front of him.
I would love that too. I just literally like the fullback dive would be the best. Like, we're gonna run it again. Let's run it one more time.
Bring back old school smash mouth football.
Bring back the fullback. Bring back
the Big Ten.
All we're doing is promoting Big Ten West football. I take that back.
Come on, boys. Come on.
How come no one's hiring Kirk Ferentz away from Iowa? Opportunity.
Because his son won't come with him. That's why they
Yeah.
really want the son. So real quick, in 2020, they stopped calling it the Civil War. They don't have a new name for it, but they do play for the Platypus Trophy. It is a platypus.
I'm glad. I'm glad
Is
it's
it cute or like fierce?
No, it's cute. It's a little abstract. Yeah.
I think the folks on Shutdown Fullcast were calling it the Buck Bowl, like beaver and duck. The Buck Bowl. Yeah.
Cheeky.
There we go.
Better
You
than
see
better
that?
than beaver.
Oh, look how
Ooh.
adorable it is. That is actually weird.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
It's very smooth.
Yeah, it's a little
Smooth and
abstract, right?
shiny. It's kind of weird looking head though. Yeah.
Well, it's a
All right.
platypus.
Can I give one more shout out? I want to praise the state champions. Like there was a lot of state championships that were settled this week. Florida State. I'm gonna give myself a moment. Champions of the state beat both interstate rivals. I'm gonna drink.
Yeah.
And the most upsetting one. Let's give it up for South Carolina, everybody. South Carolina state champions. Going out and taking out big bad Clemson. Has anyone had a bigger glow up in the last 2 weeks than Shane Beamer, excuse me. Shane Beamer, son of Frank Beamer, was just like an afterthought. South Carolina, everyone's like, well, we've kind of shit on him a lot. I know Al's shit on Spencer Rattler several times.
Yeah.
And they've come out and kicked Tennessee's ass, and then it was a close game, but they were the better team against Clemson the other day. So kudos to them, and kudos to Oregon State and Washington State. Clearly the better teams in the Pacific Northwest. A lot of surprising results this week, but I want to give it up to some of the state champs.
I
I
think somebody, but
Shane Beamer's trying.
Shit. Let me take a step back. I forgot in the Northwesterns in Illinois. I'm so used to it just being like the dumb name of state. It should be playing Illinois. Kudos to Illinois.
I was like, what other school is in Illinois? Northwestern. I was gonna say Shane Beamer. I think he's trying to get the schedule built on next year for all orange schools.
He had a nice run.
Take them all down.
Syracuse, Illinois.
South Carolina, I thought they were terrible when the year started, but they only really lost to like Arkansas. That they were hurt later in the year.
Started hot.
No, yeah, they did. They started hot, and then they finished cold. Georgia, I guess they did lose to Missouri. Maybe they were bad. And then the Gators, who the Gators are a hot and cold team with the best.
Yeah, every school that's not like undefeated has that like letdown game against somebody they shouldn't. But here to toot South Carolina's horn. I'm just glad they whooped Debo's ass because fuck Dabo.
When South Carolina was sitting, when South Carolina was sitting there at 2-3, man, I thought that they were going to be trash, and then they finished the year, 5-1. That way to go.
Yeah, no, Shane Beamer's had a glow up, boys. And he came up, there's a meme that says he looks like a Chick-fil-A franchise owner, and he really does. He really does. That dude needs some glow up help. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for South Carolina. I like seeing them fight. And I love seeing Clemson lose. It's like a low under to me.
I just hope he dances better than his dad.
So I know we got some picks to get to here shortly, but I do want to ask one more important question here. It sure looks like TCU's headed for the playoffs here, barring an upset victory by Kansas State in this game this week. But out of the three most likely teams that TCU would have to face in the playoff, that being Georgia, Michigan, and probably USC, or if you have a different team you want to throw in the mix, who do you think TCU is capable of beating? Who do you think they're most likely to beat out of that group?
I mean, I don't see them really beating anyone. If I had to throw a dart against the wall, I'm going to.
Who's their best chance? Who's the best chance they have?
I would say Michigan's pace of play can make it very unusual, but they took down CJ Stroud. Like Duggan's great. Like we love Max Duggan. We're pro Max Duggan on this podcast, but he ain't CJ Stroud talented. But I also think that could be a product of Ryan Day being an absolute dog shit play caller when the pressure is on. He's a front runner a lot of the times, but I would say Michigan, but I don't know.
For me, it's not that side of the ball. It'd be the other side, the TCU defense having to stop Michigan's rush attack. So, I mean, I would think USC is a team that doesn't have a great defense and is all about high-powered offense, and those would be the two teams that I would most like to see. but that requires a lot of shifting at the top of the table there.
I've been betting against TCU all year, so I'm not going to say that they're going to lose to any of those teams. I'm just going to say they're going to beat them all by 2 points.
That's what they do, baby.
No biters.
I think I'd go with Michigan too. I think Michigan would beat them, but I do think that's their best chance. It's weird to say about a 12-0 team, but Michigan's been a little up and down this year, right? Like they barely beat Illinois, they barely beat Maryland, right? Like they've had some close games against teams that are not as good as TCU. So
Michigan is uniquely built to beat Ohio State and Ohio State only. And if they can manage to beat everyone else along with it, great. And if not, then you can get some serious clunkers from them.
That's only kind of true because they also beat everybody else, so it's not entirely true.
But I mean, there's significant drop off after Ohio State.
I mean, they beat almost everybody by 30. They beat almost everybody by at least 3 touchdowns. Like all right, so they beat Maryland by 1 touchdown, but that Maryland team's built to score points. They aren't a smash mouth team. They can finesse a little more, and Michigan's built to be a smash mouth team. That's why they can beat Ohio State, because they can really smack you in the mouth. And Illinois is built to stop you from scoring points, and they kind of did for Michigan. So I'm kind of those are their only 2 games that were within a score. Everything else was
I found out about Hugh Freeze to Auburn at lunch today. I had lunch at Sonny's Barbecue, and I sat next to this old Auburn alum who struck up conversation about it. And he asked me who I thought was going to win the national championship. And I was like, man, I don't know. Like, this is like, I don't trust Georgia to do it, but I also don't trust any of the other teams to beat Georgia. So it's like, Georgia's worse, but they're probably going to do it. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd say Georgia, but I don't know what to make out of the teams that are going to be in the playoffs.
So Alabama is the answer, right?
I don't think so.
Everyone was really mad. They were really mad, mad on the Paul Feinbaum show about Ohio State being considerably, probably going to be ranked higher. But you gotta rank Ohio State higher, right? Like I know
Alabama.
Yeah.
If your only loss is to the best team in the country, then yes, you have to be ranked higher than a 2-loss team who lost to, what was it, LSU? No, they play LSU this week.
Are you calling Michigan the best team in the country?
Yeah, they're as good as better or Georgia or better. They're right there with them.
Okay.
Does Georgia have a win as good as Ohio State under their belt?
Tennessee's a pretty good win, but not as good.
I mean, fully healthy Tennessee's a pretty good win because apparently without not being fully healthy.
My argument for Alabama would be this. They play a much more competitive schedule. Ohio State, that Big Ten East sled, once you get through Penn State, it's pretty soft. Ohio State did play Notre Dame, but Alabama lost by a combined 3 points in 2 games, and they played a really tough schedule. And I know Danny's going to be like, well, they don't play anyone out of conference. And you're right. They don't usually. They may have this year. I may have been forgetting it, but Ohio State got worked by Michigan. That second half was ugly.
After that Bama second loss on the podcast, I was like, does Alabama still have a chance to make the playoffs? And I mean, I don't think they're getting in, but they're really close. All it takes is really a USC loss at this point, and then. Or USC and TCU loss. If those 2 teams both lose, you're getting Ohio State and Bama in there.
I don't think it's. I think there's a good likelihood one of those 2 will lose, and that may preclude to our picks later. But I don't think it's a lock of any sort.
Yeah.
I just don't think that this is as easy of a schedule as you think it is. They have to play Maryland. They have to play Penn State. They have to play Iowa. Michigan State's having an off year, but that's usually a tough game.
No, dude, conference schedules are hard. I'm not hating on. That's still a good conference. The Big Ten's a freaking great conference. We make jokes at the Big Ten West, but I think we all understand that it's a good conference, minus Illinois. And then, no, I'm just messing around. But yes, it's a very good conference schedule. It's like, do you take 1 loss at home by 20 to your biggest rival, or 2 losses on the road by 3 points or 4 points like Alabama lost?
I guess for me, the 1 loss at home, because it's 1 loss instead of
it's fair, right? I'm really intrigued.
I think the only argument against Ohio State is that was a de facto playoff game, and you lost it, so you are out. But I mean, if you look at the two teams side by side, you're keeping Ohio State in, and Bama's fucked. But Bama's the brand name. Bama brings in money. Not that Ohio State doesn't. But I think if you view it that way, where okay, the winner of this game is in, the loser is out, then Ohio State.
Bama's not that impressive. They could easily
They
have
aren't.
3 or 4 losses.
That Texas game was a real tricky one. Quinn Ewers had
Yeah.
to get hurt in order for that one to win. So, I get it. Like, I don't think they're that great anymore either. I just thought it was an interesting conversation. And for what it's worth, if there was a
this
matchup,
game wasn't easy for them either. I mean, those are the other 2 I was thinking that they could have lost.
They almost lost to A&M too, didn't they? No, it was a close one.
Was it this year? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was 20. It was 24-20. They almost lost to A&M.
Yeah.
That's
for what it's worth,
they almost lost to.
I think if Ohio State played Alabama, I think Ohio State would win, and I think I would definitely watch that freaking game. That'd probably be the game.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would count Alabama in that one. I wouldn't.
Really?
Yeah.
We've
I don't
now
like
talked
Bama,
more.
but I don't like Ohio State either.
There's not a team in the country.
Now I want it. Now I want to
see.
It's the only game I want to see.
This is why we need. This is why we need an 8-team playoff. By the way, I know that everybody's like, no, because we can't find a 4th team. Well,
you know what pisses me off? You know who pisses me off? Fucking Tom Fornelli. He's like, oh, why not do 12? Why not do 24? Man, I was like, fuck off. 8. 8 is perfect.
No,
4?
No.
4 is better.
Why not do 16?
2.
Why not do 16?
8 is perfect.
Why not do 32?
Because there's never 32 undefeated teams. There's never 32 undefeated teams.
Who cares? Let's just let them all play.
I want a
well, it's not even how the regular season.
116 matchup.
Oh,
we got Tulane coming into Alabama.
Give me my 8. Give me my 8.
128. What is it? 131 total schools, I think. 128 of them should get in. You're all playing to knock out the last 3.
So
UMass,
New Mexico, and New Mexico State. Is that?
Got to kick Colorado.
Both Colorado teams can't get in. Come on.
All right, so let's do it that way. Let's start at the bottom and who doesn't get in. Right, we have 5. Hawaii can't get in. Vanderbilt can't get in.
Vanderbilt's fine. They got 2.
They got 2 SEC
wins, baby.
Vanderbilt's in. I'm with you. All
right. That goes far for Bama.
No, I'm sorry. We're not there yet. One more shout out because we gotta talk about him. Sean Clifford, the people's QB, baby. We got to talk about Sean Clifford. I'm sorry he's not playing this week, but I'm betting on him every time he plays the rest of the year. He's trying to cover. He was caught
you don't know
video.
what side he's trying to cover, though, for every week.
He was caught on video on the sideline while they were up 19. The line's 19.5 that it closed at, telling a wide receiver on his team, we need another touchdown. We have to cover.
Yeah, they were up 14, I think, and the line was 19.5, and they ended up winning by 21.
Yeah.
So
every Penn State game that he plays in, he's 24, so this is the last one. But that guy's my hero.
He's a king.
You know what's so funny about lip reading is like if someone doesn't say what they're saying, I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck they're saying. And then if someone says it, then I'm like, oh, I can definitely see that's what they're saying. It's like what's the like lip sync stuff they do? I don't know, those funny videos where the guy's just making up conversations, and I'm like, I feel like they could have done that, like a green needle brainstorm type thing. You hear what they say you're hearing, and you see what they say you see. But yeah, I think he for sure.
I mean, I sent the league in the chat, but if you don't think that's what he's saying, watch
I'm watching it loop in front of my face right now.
Yeah, he's definitely saying it.
I mean, it'd be hard to convince a Penn State fan that that's what he's saying, but they're good at. I don't think it would. They're good at turning blind eyes.
It might be hard to convince Hugh Freeze that's what he's saying.
So to me, the real question is, did he want to cover for the boosters, or did he want to cover because he had some scratch?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's the real question.
Is it bad to bet on yourself? Everyone says this, like, bet on yourself. You know, like if he literally,
but not literally, figuratively, but not literally.
Ask Pete Rose,
but also
bullshit.
Or Calvin Ridley.
That's also dumb. I understand where you're throwing games, like the idea of throwing games in the NFL. I mean, if you only bet on yourself, I think that's dope. I think that's the dopest shit you should do.
What's the difference between placing a wager on a minus 14.5 or whatever, or minus 19.5 of a game you're playing in, and waiting for your contract the next season if they're offering you low money.
Or
Danny,
college
you bet on
quarterback
your-
coming back for another year, right? Like
Yeah.
not going to the draft, coming back for another year. I can improve my position. That's
Yeah.
betting on yourself.
hell yeah, you should bet on yourself.
You know what the difference is? Because they're betting against the books then, and the books don't want this because that makes it too hard for them.
The books are the ones encouraging them, so they're more in line. Andy, do you want to recap the future bets we did? Because I see that on the sheet here. And then we
Let's
can
go.
get into actual picks.
Yeah, I'll eat it.
I didn't know if I wanted to do that to Matt or not.
No, bring it. You can boo me. I'll drink the whole time.
So before the season started, Danny missed this particular podcast, so it's just the other three of us, but we gave out some future bets that we liked. Matt's were NC State over 8.5. Loser.
Just
Maybe
spit
she's
out
like-
that.
Can anybody do the loser game show sound? Is that
Wah, 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 wah.
USC under 9.5?
Wah, wah, wah,
That's a
wah.
dumb big loss.
Tennessee under 8.
Wah, 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 wah.
FSU under 7.5.
Wah, 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 wah.
A bet that I'm sure he was happy to lose.
Yeah, that's the best one.
And then the big winner, UMass under 2.5. Never a
All day,
doubt.
baby. All day.
Never
I
a doubt.
want to add some clarity here. I bet so many more, and they all lost. Outside of you, I bet Kansas under 3.
You flipped it on me.
I know. Well, and you too. I lost so many that were done in the first 4 weeks. It was laughably bad. So yes, I suck at future betting. Cheers.
No, I thought you were going to go the other way. Like, I bet so many of these, and these are the only 4 that lost.
No, I sucked
Yeah.
on all of them.
I love it.
Oh.
Then we've got Al. Al placed 5 future bets. He had 2 losers. Penn State under 8.5, and this one
This one's the best.
this one really cracks Matt up. The Texas A&M alt over 9.5. Right? Fuck that regular over. We're going alt over.
We're gonna make it harder than the 7.5 they were projected.
They were so close. They were so close.
What did they get? 4 wins, right?
They were so
See,
close.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Is a typo. You didn't see the little. You turned my 4 into a 9,
They would have still lost the over 4.5, buddy.
but it would have been close.
It would have been close.
But Al was over 500 with these bets because he had 3 big winners coming to my neck of the woods. He had in the Big Ten, Minnesota under 7.5, Michigan alt over 10.5. Well
That
done,
is
sir.
a baller play. That is a
Yeah.
money play.
And then, as we were just talking about, bet on yourself. Miami under 8.5.
That was the easiest bet out there.
That
If
was
I were
very
on this, I
good.
could have given you the under 8.5.
No,
I hit that one big in real
Danny,
life. I didn't give it
Danny,
out.
you can give me under 8.5 anytime you want, babe.
Ooh,
That's a penis joke.
sexy.
It's gonna be soft.
Under 8.5 soft. Wow.
I like that's both. That's both like a
Brag and a confident. Like,
like I can't get it up,
I
but
didn't
it's
say it's
also
over
bigger than
8.5
8.5 hard.
I didn't say it's over
If I
8.5
could.
hard.
Oh, okay.
It shrinks. It gets smaller.
It's just
All right.
It's just making
right,
fun of my ability to get erections.
Nah.
That's all.
And
As a
then
middle-aged man.
I had 3 picks, undefeated, which is pretty par for the course for me. Nevada under 4.5, Pitt under 8.5, and New Mexico under 2.5.
God, New Mexico under 2.5.
ooh,
Bravo,
it's
sir.
a stinker.
Beautiful. Yeah. Matt and I've talked all season. Those like 2.5 unders are just so beautiful. I will admit I was also on the Kansas under with Matt, and we lost that in like week 3. But overall, I did pretty good on my futures, so pretty happy.
I had some real bad ones. I think I took ULM under 2.5, and that one's not close. Like I lost a lot of these low unders, but UMass is right as rain. Right as rain.
So in
All
the
right.
middle of the pack, it was a more average season. I think there were a lot more teams around 500 than normal. So those low unders didn't hit as much. There weren't as many, UMasses. Like Colorado won like 6 games.
Yeah.
Or not Colorado, fucking
UConn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mountain West
going both.
was crowded too. Mountain West was crowded.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it's finally time to get to our picks. Just want to remind our listeners and Danny that in a normal college football Saturday, there's something like 60 or 70 games, and we usually each pick about 10. So this week there's 11 games. Don't feel like you have to pick them all. All right, Danny? Not directing this at any one person, but all right, Danny?
Have you ever heard of chasing? Have you ever heard of tilt?
I'm unfamiliar. What is that?
Well,
I hear it works out well.
Even if I hit all 11 of these, I won't get back to 500. I don't think so. I got to try, and then I'll maybe get there in bowl games.
We can confirm that. 1 second.
No, I already confirmed.
You will be very close. You will be very close if you hit all 11 of these. But that said, let's go ahead and get into these picks. Danny, we'll let you kick it off. There is a Friday 1 p.m. game. This is a makeup game. It's the only game we're going to talk about this week that is not a conference championship game. This is a makeup game between Akron and Buffalo. Just as a real quick side note, this is the last season win total I have. I need Akron to get a win here to win my last season win total. But I don't think they're going to do it. And I think Danny agrees with me.
Yeah, I agree. I think Buffalo's on kind of a losing streak here, but I just think that they're better than Akron. Akron, lost 4 of their last 5. Buffalo's lost 3 of their last 5. So both of these teams kind of not.
Yeah, Buffalo's last chance to get bowl eligible.
Yeah,
the only reason they're playing this game.
They've blown it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, so I basically think that Buffalo's at home laying 11.5. They can run the ball.
I almost did it.
That's fair. Danny, you're also the only one with a pick in our next game, Friday night at 7:30.
Meep meep. Ooh, I'm gonna meep so hard. I love that meme.
Home game under the lights in San Antonio. I think that they're gonna cover. I'd like this game a whole lot more at a touchdown, but I think they're going to cover the 8.5. University of Texas San Antonio.
I like it also on the 8.5 for what it's worth, buddy. I probably am going to join you when the party starts.
In Matt's parlance, UTSA is a wagon.
They are a wagon.
They are tough beat, but UNT's been good too. So I don't know. I feel like UTSA is at least a more exciting brand of football than North Texas, so I support you.
Yeah, it's a type of football I like to support.
And if you just want to play the transitive property game, UTSA beat Rice 41-7. North Texas beat Rice 21-17.
You're right in the pocket, bud.
I love transitive property.
Hey, shout out to my buddy Stu, who does actually occasionally listen to this podcast. He likes to give out lines for us, and my other buddy John loves betting the Roadrunners so much that he doesn't even have to make the bet. It's just like automatic.
He's locked in.
Locked in. No text necessary.
Nice. That's awesome. I did forget to mention that is the Conference USA championship game. So the winner of that will be the winner of Conference USA.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on to our last game of Friday. Friday at 8 p.m. is the Pac-12 championship in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we've got some disagreement here. Al, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about being on the same side as Danny. It hasn't worked out well for us prior. But last week was a down week, so this week we're due for a good week. I'm laying it with USC. I think Utah, while they have been good and they have the better defense here, I think USC is just hitting on all cylinders offensively. I think there's a good chance USC hangs like 40 on Utah. Not that they're going to, but I think it's going to be more tough for Utah to keep pace offensively than USC will have trouble scoring, if that makes sense. Caleb Williams, your husband winner.
Yeah, he's going to win it. He locked it up last week. So.
Yeah, I'm going with USC, the better coach, the better quarterback. It's 3 points.
I don't know if they're the better coach. I don't know. I'd go that far.
I don't know who Utah's coach is. So
Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham. You should never sleep on Kyle Whittingham, boys. You should never sleep on this. Honestly, I like the number at the 3. USC is likely to win, but it's going to be a very close game. Utah is the one team for some reason. They always travel. They travel hard as shit. Their style of like really mucking up football games, but having a dynamic enough quarterback in order to do it like in a pretty fashion plays very well. They are the only team to have beaten USC this year, be it a 1-point game in Salt Lake City. I like this game to stay close. I think it's going to stay closer than you think.
Yeah.
And the way Al said he hates being on the same side as Danny, I love being on the same side as Matt. I think
Let's
we're
go,
pretty
buddy.
well when we're on the same side. So I'm taking this as well. I do think USC's offense will be the best unit on the field, but not by a lot, only by a little. And their defense will be the worst unit on the field by a lot. So I just don't trust USC to get enough stops to win this, or at least not to win it by a lot. So
Andy,
Matt and I are on Utah +3.
Are you thinking about on the money line too, or just the number?
So I'm on the next two plays as well, and I actually did a money line parlay of all three. That is not a plus EV bet. It is not something I would normally recommend, but just with fewer games this week, it felt like something fun to do. So I do have this in a money line parlay on the money line for Utah.
Okay.
Sounds like you guys are going to be Cam falling for this sucker play here. And
no, my
losing
penis is
money
going to be
betting on
Cam
Cam
Rising
Rising.
when I'm rich.
All right, so moving into Saturday at noon, we've got the MAC championship in Detroit. Toledo taking on Ohio. Danny and I are in agreement here. Danny, what do you got?
This is easy. You know how I love these T schools. I never know which one's which, but I do know this: Ohio's never won the MAC, and Toledo has before. I think Toledo's gonna bring the championship back home. That's it. It's 1.5 points. But yeah, I'm gonna take them.
Isn't Toledo the bad one?
No, that's
it was
lame.
it was Tulsa, but then Tulsa ended up winning a big game last week that we thought they were the bad one.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm on Toledo minus the 1.5 as well.
It's hard to keep track.
Ohio's defense is in the bottom 20 by my rankings of all the defenses in the country. So Toledo's not great. They're like 78th, but that's a lot better than bottom 20. So I'm going with Toledo, laying the 1.5.
I like it. Let's go. Let's go Rockets.
They are the Rockets.
Hey, let's go Rockets.
Also at noon on Saturday, the Big 12 championship game in Arlington, Texas, AT&T Stadium, under the big lights. Kansas State taking on undefeated TCU with a playoff spot on the line here. Matt, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so Howard under Kansas State, ever since Howard has become the quarterback for Kansas State, everyone thought Adrian Martinez getting hurt would be a problem. It's actually been nothing against the kid. I'm sad he got hurt, but they're a lot better. They're a really good offensive unit, and they score a ton of points, and they put pressure on everyone on the field. You combine that with Max Duggan doing Max Duggan magic, I think you're going to need to get above 30 points to win this game, and I think it's going to be damn close. So I like the over 62 here. This is going to be a classic spot where I'm going to eat a shit burger. It's going to be 24-20. But, I mean, everything in the numbers and how these teams have played in the past indicates this game is going to be above 30 for both sides. So I like the over 62.
Al, what do you got?
Yeah, well, so before I give my pick here, I just want to reiterate here because if you want to throw your money away, you go ahead and play this parlay of Andy's. Utah money line, Toledo money line, and Kansas State money line, right? That's the side you're taking.
That's it.
That's Alabama operative Andy doing his best to get Bama into the college football playoffs. So if you just want to make sure that parlay is paying a little bit better than Bama's chances to make the playoffs, because that's happening. So that said, I'm laying 2.5 with TCU. I do like the idea of a Kansas State first half bet. I'm not sure what it's going to be. It's probably going to be like a pick'em or a single point or something like that. But I could see Kansas State leading this game at halftime before TCU figures shit out and runs away with it in the second half. But that's my play. TCU minus 2.5.
I'm going Kansas State plus 2.5 because it's just at some point I got to be right about TCU losing a game, and um,
It's the same reason
yeah.
I'm on it. At some point, Danny's
If
got to
it's
be
not going
right.
to be this one,
Like-
it'll be the next one. If it's not this one, it'll be the next one.
Yeah, if it's not this one, it'll be the next one. At some point, I got to be right. Also, they've won a couple of games by like 1 point, so maybe that 2.5 will actually cover.
Yeah, no. Betting
It sounds
them
like a
plus
small line,
2.5
but
is
gargantuan.
not saying Kansas State wins. It just means it's gonna be very tight.
Yeah.
I can see TCU winning this on a field goal at the end, just to like continue their trend of winning by
Dumb
one score.
shit.
All right. Moving into the 3:30 window, we've got the Sun Belt Championship. Coastal taking on Troy. Danny, now looks like you're on the same side as this. Why don't you guys take that one?
If
yeah,
Grayson and McCall were playing in this game, I would totally have Coastal. I would lay the 10 with Coastal to take home their first Sun Belt championship since they joined the FBS. But no, he's not. So Troy, I'll lay with whatever. Their other quarterback can kind of run the ball a little bit, but he's just not the same level.
Yeah, if Grayson McCall was playing in this game, this line would be like 3 points, right?
Yeah, it'll be a lot closer.
I'm laying 10.
That's what I'm saying. I
Troy.
I would lay the points the other way. I would lay 10 with Coastal.
Coastal,
It could be a 20-point swing. Yeah.
Yeah, Troy's got a really good defense.
They do.
They've got a almost equivalent offense as Coastal. I mean, not quite, but they have a they're no slouches offensively, but their defense is a lot better than Coastal's. So lay the 10 there. Coastal without McCall is not the same team.
I want to give everyone a warning who's listening here. If you're going to sit at home and assume you're going to watch the SEC, like if you're going to watch on one TV, don't do that. And if you're going to watch one TV, watch the Sun Belt game. It's going to be
Sun Belt.
It's going to be an awesome game. People don't realize how good Troy and Coastal are. It's ridiculous. Troy's freaking awesome. Go watch that one, and then put in have the SEC game on your hand on your cell phone.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Even without Grayson, Coastal can run the ball.
So it's gonna be an awesome game. It's gonna be kick ass.
Matt, there's gonna be so many exciting punts in the LSU Georgia game though.
Oh, bro. Let's go to Atlanta then. Speaking of that, let's talk at LSU Georgia inside of Atlanta. Danny, what's your thoughts?
Am I the only person who thinks LSU is a fraud? I just don't.
They are semi-fraudulent for sure.
I just don't think they're that good, and I think Georgia still is better. So it's -17. Like there's not like a whole lot of. I don't have like a computer that I put a bunch of like numbers into and say that Georgia's defense is number 1 and LSU's defense is number 9, and I do a spread from that. It's just Georgia's really fucking good and LSU's probably not as good. So lots of points.
Yep.
Lay them.
I mean, I think Georgia has shown recently that they can score, and they're not afraid to put up points. Defensively, they are what they are at this point. LSU has been exciting, but they have not played someone on Georgia's caliber really lately. And I think I'm going to lay the 17 with UGA too. It may be 17.5 now.
Stetson Bennett's been like a legit good quarterback this year too.
Yeah, he has top 10 in QBR.
I considered the under in this game, which I think I also like. It's at 51. I don't think I'm going to play it as a chuggy bet, but come Saturday, I might consider it.
I think you guys are right. I think the spread at 17, it opened up at 15.5, and I loved it. 17 seems like the number. I do think people sleep on LSU because of the Florida State game at the beginning of the year. They didn't play very well, and last week was a disaster. I think Brian Kelly tried to save Jimbo Fisher's job just so they couldn't fire him, right? And just so they can make Jimbo Fisher can do all his pissing and ranting on the sidelines and have a shitty team. And I loved it, by the way. That's just the sidetrack. But 17 seems like right on the number. And if I had to play a side, I'd play Georgia here.
So
I can't believe I didn't have this in the spreadsheet. I'm betting LSU plus 17.5. I can find both numbers so you guys can keep your -17. But I'm thinking
too many points.
It's too many goddamn points. You're right, it is. Yeah,
Not
while
the
you guys were
SEC.
talking, I was looking at it. Yeah, absolutely. This is. I was actually hoping that LSU would look really good the last couple of weeks coming into this, and we'd get a smaller number, and I was gonna fade the hell out of LSU. But 17.5, that's too many points. I'm taking it. And I'm fading you guys because Danny got one right with Kansas State a minute ago. He's not getting both of these right.
Like I said, everyone who's
That's right,
listening,
Andy. That's right.
turn off the SEC game and watch the Coastal game. Coastal Troy. It's going to be a lot better than this one.
Hey,
What?
just to put a bow on that one, maybe I can convince Andy this way. Everyone thought Tennessee Georgia was going to be that was billed as a close matchup, right? Like the game for the SEC, and I think Georgia ended up winning by 14, right? And then Tennessee played LSU. You know what the final score of that game was? It was 40-13 Tennessee. So if we're doing a transitive property, I think that means Georgia's supposed to win by
112.
30,
I did the math
35
in my head
points.
right then.
30,
I want a
12.
shirt that says transitive property football is dumb. I hate it. I hate when you guys
I
do it.
love
It
it
drives
so
me
much.
insane. Let's
Yeah,
go to the
well, I
Mountain
mean,
West.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. We got Fresno and Boise. I think Al's real confident here. I don't know where this game is. Is this game in Boise? Is that how the Mountain West does it?
It is. Yep.
All right. So the game's in Boise. We got Fresno at Boise. What you boys got? Start us off, Al.
Fresno State plus 3.5. Lock it in. That's Chuggy Bet of the week. Go ahead and play that money line too.
Yeah,
That's-
I like Fresno to win this game. I'm getting 3.5 points. You know how I love Hainer. We were going through the schedule earlier, and when he plays, they score lots of points, and when he doesn't, they don't and lose. So
I'm also going to take the over 54 here, just because Boise State's been scoring and Fresno State is unstoppable offensively with Hainer. So I see this thing, both teams hitting 20 plus points and Fresno State going well beyond that. So let's do it. Don't fuck around. That's called commitment. You make the pick, you stake your claim. Andy, what do you got? Where do you have like Fresno State's defense and Boise State's offense ranked? If you have your numbers handy.
I do. I pulled them for all the games this week since there weren't that many.
Nice.
You said Fresno State's offense and Boise State's
Yeah.
defense. I have Fresno State's offense.
Other way around, but both, yeah.
Okay. Boise State's offense, I have just a little bit better than middle of the pack, like 63rd. And Fresno State's defense a little worse than average, like 80th. And then I've got Boise State's defense as a little
Pretty
bit
good.
better than, yeah, they're like top 40.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
And Fresno State's offense?
52nd.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. Is really what those numbers say. Like
So
Boise State could be the better team, but those numbers probably don't take into account the 5 games that Hainer was out.
yeah, correct.
Yep.
You're not playing Boise State here?
And me or Matt?
You, Andy.
I am not.
When you read off those numbers, it sounded like it might be territory for you to have a play.
No. Yeah, it's too close to have a ton of value for me. And I was telling you guys before the pod, I actually had some preseason conference win bets, and I have Fresno State to win the Mountain West. So I will be rooting very hard,
you're
not
just sitting
just
on
for
it,
the
yeah.
Fresno State plus 3.5, but for a Fresno State win. So yeah, that'll be my action in this game, and I'm not gonna play anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
On to the American Athletic Conference Powerhouse, 4 p.m. UCF Tulane in Tulane, or in New Orleans, I guess, right?
Yep.
Danny, what do you got for us on that one?
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. UCF and Tulane have already played. Tulane supposedly has a good defense, and UCF did not care. So I'm gonna take UCF in this one.
Yeah, I was this close to tailing you on that too. It's the fact that the line has moved UCF's way from the first matchup to this one even, or I guess Tulane's way. You know what I mean? The line was like 1 for the first matchup, and UCF won by a touchdown. It's now Tulane by 3. So somebody out there knows more than me about why that line is set where it's at, because I would be inclined to think UCF's going to win that second time around. But
It's hard to beat a team twice in the same season, but I'm just inclined to think that.
Yeah.
I mean, Tulane's biggest strength, I guess, as a team, I'm pretty sure, is their defense, and I mean, there's also the fact that the AAC's been around for like 10 years. Tulane's never made the championship, and UCF makes it seems like every year. So.
Yeah. It's
I
like
think
Kentucky ranked 6th. It's like, no, one of these things is not like the other. It's done. Get it out of here.
I think there's a chance Tulane's defense is the best side on the field, but I don't think that friggin' matters. Like I think it's relatively. You saw that last time, and they scored at will. That's why I'm looking at the over in this game. I bet it the first time. I told everyone here, I was like, I love the over.
Right.
I hit it in like the middle of the third quarter. The number is pretty close. I think Tulane's defense will adjust, but I'm eyeballing the shit out of it. Just wanted to. This is not a chuggy bet. It's an eyeball the shit out of bet.
Dude, I don't think it matters. I just don't think it matters if they adjust. I think that they probably tried and didn't work.
Yeah, that's my idea.
I think we might be sleeping on Tulane's offense a little bit too. I think they can. I don't know how UCF's defenses look this year, but they don't typically have a very good one, and Tulane has been able to score. So, yeah.
Just to throw this out there, the last game, John Rice Plumlee only threw for 132 yards. That just so you know how that game scored. They scored 38 points, but he only threw for 132 yards.
Yeah, they run the shit out of the ball.
They ran the shit out of the ball.
And Tulane's pass defense is really good.
Yards.
Their corners are good as shit. So like that's going to be the strength there. And Gus loves just hitting the same. Like it's like when you have a bruise and someone just pushes the same spot. That's Gus Malzahn's offense. Like, you don't like that, huh? It's like I'm not gonna. He's Oregon State. He's gonna run the shit out of the ball and not pass it if he doesn't have.
Yeah, they're gonna be down 21 at halftime, and he's gonna say, "Guys, no more passing."
You didn't let me finish my John Rice Plumlee stat though. So he
I'm sorry.
He only had 132 yards passing, but he had 300 yards of total offense.
Yeah, dude's gonna run the ball. Sorry, Danny. I stepped on it, but I supported your point.
Yeah.
So, are you guys saying that UCF is now a service academy? Is that what I'm hearing?
Thank you for your.
Not on the unders. They score too much.
That's true.
I'm not betting the UCF Navy under. No.
All right, coming to the end of our night here, the ACC championship game, 8 p.m. Clemson taking on North Carolina. Danny, don't feel like you have to pick every game.
I'm going to pick every game. I got to catch you guys.
What do you got for us here, bud?
Oh, what's UNC's quarterback's name? I can't remember. Mason. Drake May. Yeah. Why was I going to say Mason? I don't know.
We should have let you come up with a name. That would have been much better.
Mason McDowell.
Honestly, I was probably just gonna come up with the name of one of my old fraternity brothers and pretend like just a super white name.
Brent.
So yeah, he's good. And I don't think that DJ Adewale Ogunleye is good. I mean, it's the same analysis I give every week on Clemson that I don't think their quarterback's very good.
Yeah.
I'm taking UNC +8. UNC +8.
UNC's defense is worse than UNC's offense is good. Or is more worse than their offense is good. And
they're the most
average Clemson.
If that were true, they wouldn't be 9-3. If that were true, they wouldn't be 9-3.
It is true. They're the most worstest.
I haven't actually looked at this, but I think they're the team with the biggest disparity in my ratings. Their offense is top 12. And their defense is bottom 15.
Yeah, they're awful.
Yeah,
they're
awful. It's really bad. And then Clemson, both are probably like
they're the anti-Iowa.
Yeah.
Can we just put it on the record? Can we put it on the record? Gene Chizik's going to be fired by December 31st. I'm going to do another chuggy bet. Gene Chizik is the defensive coordinator.
I didn't know he was coaching.
Yeah, that defense. Phil Longo's team score. I think I've said this like a bunch of times, and that defense fucking stinks. That dude's getting fired so fast.
He's got such a broad chin though. He's got a nice chin.
He does. It's unfortunate. There's so many
Rock
good games
solid.
at 4:00, and this game, North Carolina is coming in such dog shit form. They've been so bad the last couple of weeks. That game against NC State, they have not played very well at all. So, I mean, Danny may
Yeah,
be
we're gonna
right.
need some like college basketball or some shit to bet on Saturday night because this Purdue, Michigan, and Clemson, North Carolina is not for me.
I was gonna say there was World Cup on Saturday, but it'll be well over by
It'll
this
be
time,
over,
right?
yeah.
So, yeah.
It's going to be during the damn Sun Belt game that we've been
Yeah.
talking about. It's going to be awful.
It's upsetting. All right, last game of the night, 8 p.m. Big Ten Conference Championship in Indy. Purdue taking on Michigan. Matt, why don't you kick us off on that one?
Yeah, Michigan's a lot better than Purdue. Any way you want to slice it up, there's a chance Aiden O'Connell doesn't play in this game, and that makes me feel even more confident. Michigan's going into practice prep assuming Aiden O'Connell doesn't play. And if that's the case, Michigan is going to dominate. 16.5. This game's probably going to be closer to a 20 or 30-point win. I think you lay the points with Michigan. They have a point to prove. They have an axe to grind. They got to win this game in order, and they want to do it in dominating fashion so they can get a really good spot, maybe get the top spot and face TCU. I think they're going to play with something to play for, and I think this is going to be a Michigan team that wins by 16.5 points.
Danny?
Same kind of stuff. I just think that Michigan just beat the shit out of Ohio State with a running back with one hand. So
He did.
I'm more interested in seeing why Andy likes Purdue here.
because it's too many points. It's too many points. It's not like an
It's
interesting
not.
analysis.
Not enough
So
points.
So it's three things. One, it's too many points. Two, that's what my numbers say. And three, you guys all just watched Michigan beat the shit out of Ohio State. What none of you guys watched is the week before when Michigan almost lost to Illinois.
I saw that. I got
Purdue does not have that kind of defense. That's a different kind of game. Purdue's a finesse
Did
team like
Illinois?
Ohio
Did
State.
Michigan really almost
Andy,
lose to
drink.
Illinois?
Drink
Or
and
was
then
it
make
like-
your point. Drink and make your point. I haven't given my chuggy bet. Yes, Danny, you're right. Andy's wrong here.
Purdue's
I
a
don't
finesse
know.
team. You can't bet this on numbers.
How close was Michigan to actually losing to Illinois?
12 seconds.
12 seconds away.
12 seconds.
That's pretty
Very
close.
We had a lead with 12 seconds left. And
was
if it
a
hadn't
bummer.
been for
What
a pass
happened?
interference
Yeah.
penalty,
Hmm.
and it was a pass interference.
it
I'm
was
not
pass
complaining about a bad call. It was a real pass
It
interference.
was.
There were earlier bad calls though.
But if we hadn't committed pass interference and got them into field goal range, yeah, we could be having a very different conversation today about Big Ten championships, about the
God,
playoff.
that would have been so
Like-
fun. Fuck you, Illinois. You ruined
No.
you ruined everything.
No,
We could have had Bama in the playoff.
I think Andy does bring up a good point, and if it was any team other than Purdue, I'd feel really good about it. And Purdue's had a good year, and Aiden O'Connell makes that team the most exciting team in the Big Ten West. There's a good chance he doesn't play. And that team
So I will admit I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's
If he
worth
doesn't play,
saying
I
that
don't like this.
it's worth saying that in the fourth quarter of that Illinois game where they almost lost to Illinois, they had 3 drives in that fourth quarter. They got themselves 3 field goals against one of the toughest defenses in the country.
And
They did
look,
what they had to do.
I need some more clarity on the Aiden O'Connell thing. It's not an injury. His brother died. So there's a good chance he will. There's a chance he will play. They may play, but he doesn't know, right? Like there's some things that are more
Is
important.
that
than getting-
Purdue's quarterback?
Yes.
All right.
Oh.
Anybody have any other thoughts on championship week before we wrap it
Yeah,
up?
everyone, give a final score prediction for USMNT versus Iran tomorrow. Andy, what's the final score?
2-1 US.
Danny,
I like 2-1 US. I mean, it's going to be both teams to score. Yes, is my bet.
Matt, what do you got?
I'm on the same number. 2-1 was the number in my head. I don't want to be a bummer, but yeah, no, I think 2-1 US is going to be it. The other scores in my head are bummers, so let's do 2-1.
Yeah, so I'll give the
The
bummer one.
the only thing-
On the podcast,
The only
on
thing
a
that I'm
real
sure
downer
of,
note.
the only thing I'm sure of that's going to happen in this game is that Iran's getting a goal in the second half, and it's probably going to be the last one.
It's probably
So
gonna be a backbreaker. 1-1.
it could be 1-1, but Iran's getting the
1-1
last
US.
goal.
US sits on a goal lead like they did in Wales, and then whoops, we let one slip, and there goes the World Cup. Sorry, I'm a downer. That was a
We
shitty
didn't
way
do
to do
the
this.
we didn't do our chuggies.
Oh
Let's do our
yeah.
chuggies.
You're the only one that had one, and you gave it to Andy. Oh, I guess we
No,
did.
like-
We win. We won bets too, right?
Yeah, no. What do we want to do as
Like-
our chuggy bets?
Picking Chuggy Bets for next week.
Oh, picking ChuggieBets. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Who's
Mine
going
is
queued up?
Fresno State. Mine's Fresno State plus 3.5.
Yeah, you already said. Al said his during it.
I'm laying all the points with Michigan. That Purdue team, it doesn't matter. O'Connell or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's a 24-point game written all over it.
So I picked my Chuggy Bet solely on like what am I not gonna have to argue with Danny again about, right? Because if I say Purdue plus 16.5, LSU plus 17.5, I'm just gonna have to argue with him again, and it's exhausting. So I'm gonna pick something that we're on together. I'm gonna say Toledo minus 1.5.
Danny, or
Hey.
Andy, that might be like a double pointer if that hits.
I'm gonna go Troy minus 10.
Ooh, I like it.
I do too.
So
Nice.
here, if you're gonna throw a bunch of money down on a parlay, make it those 4 plays: Fresno State, Toledo, Troy, and Michigan.
If you're gonna throw any money down at all, don't be on any of my picks.
No, this is your week, bud. That's a winning card.
Last week was an anomaly,
Yeah.
and that we only have one strong memories.
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us for an hour. Follow us everywhere. Come back and check out the NFL podcast tomorrow. Good night, Joey.
Good night, Joey.
Night night.